Screen 3, share. All right, first up, due to alphabetical order, Amanda, you sent in 6 pictures here.
This is Gunsy Samuel's Panther G.
Great.
It's old. It's mixed media with metal and everything. It's heavy also.
Like a real panther there, Amanda.
It's one of my shelf queens. I started about, I guess, 3 years ago, and it's finished.
Nice.
I got a whole pile of shelf queens. You can see another one right behind it.
Oh, what's that? Oh, yeah.
PT-76.
Were the tracks in that kit metal too?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Like you pick it up and it just, you feel all the weight.
Yeah.
Like the mantle on the turn is metal and just so much metal it didn't need to be. Italy Revell Leopard 1. I'm doing a Leopard C2. I got this from one of the guys up here in Barrie. Gave me 2 Revell kits. They're okay for their day. I've replaced the tracks because they're so stiff.
Mm.
These are individual links, so there's two end connectors, the tracks, and then the guide teeth, and you just go along, and it's a long process.
Mm.
But they are much. They won't snap off the drive sprocket or idler.
How old is this kit approximately?
The lower half of the kit is been around for forever.
Like you can see, there's like the tools are all engraved in the edge of it.
And they've added some new parts, like on the Leopard C2, which is a Leopard 1A1 or 1A5 turret. There's all these rubber bumpers with bolts that hold the side armor on. Italy provides like 5 little points in different spots, and it's not even like it just doesn't sit on there. There's no easy way. There are newer kits that do it much better.
All right. Ah.
And that's the Dustwork Fawn. The figures I'm working on now. Tamiya's 116 trailer. I've got some jokes from friends saying that I have a whole load of scale lumber that's worth a fortune.
That's a good point.
It's not a bad kit. They goofed some things. There's a guy in Missing Links who's got about 29 or 30 plus pages on all the corrections he's doing, and he's not even finished yet. And there are my figures. I just started painting them. The little stand I got from Dollar Tree for about $2. So when I paint parts, I just stick them in there, and it's just, it's easy to hold. I got 3 of these.
I like that. That's a good tip.
Paint brushes, and then 2 other ones for doing this.
What do they sell them for? For this purpose or something else?
They're for
Paintbrush.
holding paint brushes. It's 5 pieces, top, bottom, and 3 legs.
Eric, if you want, go get yourself a cheapo Lazy Susan, plastic Lazy Susan, stick it under the bottom, and it spins.
Yeah, exactly. I have one of those in my paint booth. Just put it over there. Awesome.
I got that exact same style, Amanda.
Hey, guys, quick question. I know Gunsy did at least 2 kits, that Panther, and they did an Indian Scout motorcycle. Did they do much in the way of kits?
There's a Stug 3. There are a couple others.
But they were in and out of the kit business real fast, right? They didn't stick around too long in that.
They're still around, I think, in Japan mostly. Because they have a whole bunch of different Panthers, the Stug 3s, but they do the mixed media with metal and plastic and red.
Were they 35th scale or 48th?
It's 35th.
Okay.
Go to ScaleMates. They have a whole listing of stuff they've done.
Oh yeah, good point. Thanks.
If anybody's interested, Bandai used to make 148 scale armor back in the 70s. with full interiors and the whole shebang. At the time, they were considered one of the best.
Aurora used to make 48 scale armor too, if I recall correctly.
And the Bandai armor was really good. I remember making a 48 scale. I think it was a vest, right?
Mhm.
So yeah, it was a lot of fun. I was, of course, you're playing around with the armor after it's done, right? I must have been about 12 years old at the time. So.
All right, moving on. We have Garvin sent some pictures, looking for some suggestions and some help on.
Yeah, can you hear me, guys?
Yep.
Yep, very loud and clear.
Sure. Well, this kit I just recently, about 2 or 3 months ago, got, and it's, well, as a 1/44th kit, it's really, really small. But I'm interested because when I looked at the decals, all 3 of the variants, including, as you can see on the top, that was the one that really interested me because that's the president's VH-1 Marine 1 helicopter, right? And the other 2, one is the bottom third one is for rescuing. No, it was for getting what is it? NASA, yeah, recovery NASA astronauts, right?
That's very famous.
So I thought like I'd like to do all 3 of them, but now given that I got the kit, I need to find a way to capture the molding on the basic body and then duplicate it in multiple copies. So I was hoping that at least one of you, maybe Vince, can give me some ideas as to how I might do that.
What? What are you trying to do?
I'm trying to, okay, you see this body here? I'm trying to take that. It's about what, 3 or 4 inches in depth. And
I see.
And I like to do multiples of that.
Oh, you don't want to go out and buy the kit 3 times.
Yeah, I don't want to go out and buy kits like multiple times.
So let's do some quick economics 101. How much is the kit cost?
Right. About $25 or so.
Okay, Mr. Guertin, by the time you get silicone rubber and cast it, are we looking at $75?
You're looking at about $150.
I'm not sure. That's exactly what I'm looking at it for. See, the other thing was I already have some polymorphic molding beads. So
Yeah,
I'm not sure if.
Yeah,
not sure if
they won't get the job done for it. You need to use silicone rubber to make
resin.
mold.
Right, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
right.
so
basically
you're
you're telling me I have to go back and get the resin.
Yeah, you're better off just buying kits and modifying them because it'll be cheaper than it will to try and make resin castings of these parts.
Ah, okay. Let me think about it that way in that case.
Yep.
And it'll be less if you've never poured resin before, and this is 48 scale, right?
Right.
No,
So,
1/44.
No, this is 1/44th scale.
Oh, okay, right.
Which is really, really tiny.
Yeah, I got that then. I see what
that's
you're saying.
why.
Yeah, but by the time you do your trial and error, and the fact if you don't have the tools like a pressure pot to cast the resin in and stuff, you're gonna have lots of problems with bubbles and porosity and stuff in your castings. So you're better off just buying 3 kits. It'll be much.
So I'm better off going after the original kits.
Yes.
Okay.
Are we at time?
Okay.
All right.
And I'm saving you a world of headaches too, because if you're new to resin casting, it can be a complete nightmare when you're starting out and extremely frustrating.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Now the only difference, Garmin, and unless you want to get into that area and do a bunch more, that's a different matter, scale of economies. But to do it for this, I agree with the other guys. It may not be worth the effort.
The other option,
Right.
Garvin, is you spend about a couple of 100 hours learning Fusion 360, draw it up in 3D, get yourself access to a resin printer, and start cranking these things out. Because remember, if you were to do a thing,
the trouble with that is that I just don't have the tools, nor would I want to spend the 100 hours going into this.
Right. So I don't know what you bill your employer, but 100 hours at, let's just say, $50 an hour, that's a lot of money. So
that's what I thought.
Yeah. Okay then.
All right.
Okay.
It's John Wong here. It's John Wong here. Your other option is to go really old school, but it's a lot of work in building. It's to smooth out the fuselage. You can lose the detail, but you vac form over it and you pull 3 sets.
No.
And you're building vac form as a model.
That's a good point, John.
Okay.
But
Okay, I'll
that's
consider
no
that.
easier. That's no easier.
It just got bigger. So unless you're doing
Right.
a female and you're sucking the plastic in, everything just got bigger, right?
Garvin, it depends what
Right.
your take on this hobby is. If you want to go to that route and do all that because that's what you want to do, then that's fine. But if you just want 3 of these made and you're not going to do anything else, just buy the kits.
Yeah. Seems like the logical path.
Okay, I'll consider that.
Okay.
All right. Good suggestions for Garvin. All right, Gates, you are up next with some nice outdoor shots you sent.
Oh, guys, before I go on, I wanted to also give a shout out because there's a new model company that's coming out with 144 what is it, Spitfires, and well, basically they're building molds for the Spitfire and the BF 109, and it's called actually Beacon Models. You guys might want to just jump in there because they're doing a Kickstarter right now.
Yeah, I heard about that.
They want more and more support.
Yeah.
And they're only they're not even halfway through the support they need in order to get the project started right now. So they definitely need more modelers interested in their company.
And just to add on to that, we interviewed them on the podcast. One of the guys is an ex-Wingnut Wings guy, and the other guy's done a lot of minis for like wargaming and that. And the quality's just gorgeous. I'll throw it in the chat, the link.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, Gates, over to you.
Okay, all right. So I got this right. Okay, I'll be quick. This is a Zvezda kit. Who's ever built Zvezda before?
Yes.
Okay, so this is actually a Zvezda kit, and it's a gas. You've probably seen that model. It's kit number 3602. There were actually 4 trucks manufactured outside of Moscow during the Second War. They did a few thousand of those. Anyway, this is it's 1/35th scale, and where the project that I'm involved with, the Burlington Railroad Museum, the front of the model is G scale or 124, 125. But when you go back into the display, we go down to 1/35. So this will be right in the middle of the display. The next photo. Okay, now the fruits and vegetable that you see down on the floor, the food stuff is a kit from Verlinden. It's number 208. I bought that in St. Louis, Missouri over 20 years ago. And that's where I met François Verlinden. François Verlinden was located in that location at that time. Go ahead.
The vegetables haven't spoiled since that time? Okay.
My goodness, they haven't. They haven't. Good question. Good question.
Sorry for the interruption.
It's okay. Go ahead. The figure in the truck is a Tamiya figure, and I used an Ultracast head. Ultracast is a Canadian company out of Guelph, and they do a pretty good job. And the German figure, the lady has a nice figure, but the modeler did a poor job. It's not good quality plastic, and the molding is not that great. That's basically it. It's if you see the roof is what I showed you at the last meeting. It's made with the tissue paper and a mixture of white glue and water. And the Freeman General Store, well, the name of the train station back in the 20s was called the Freeman Station down in Burlington, and they were a major hub. At that time, there were a lot of orchards in that area. I lived in Burlington in the 70s, and I had 2 peach trees in my backyard. I remember it well. So they were extremely busy at that time in the 20s, and the scene, the train layout that we have on the bottom of that, on the basement of that train station is 50 feet wide by about 10 to 15 feet deep, depending where you're standing. And it's a fun project. And anyway, I enjoy doing that, and it's 1/35 scale, and I'm pretty well accustomed working with that scale. That's it. Thank you for your attention, guys.
Very nice, Gates.
Thank you.
Nice. Good stuff.
Up next, Mark, do we have you on? Mark Racine. All right. Well, Mark sent pictures of this. Yeah, it's a. Let's see. Give me some information here. Yeah, Fokker D7, and this is a 1/28th scale.
Provel.
Oh
Provel.
yeah.
He says with
So
necessary corrections. What's he got? Straightening the top wing, reducing depth of rear fuselage tail. So, yeah.
Nice.
That lozenge is nice.
Yeah.
Vintage kit.
Yeah.
Whenever I
wondered why Ravel picked 1/28th for some of their World War I subjects. It's kind of an odd. It's kind of an odd size.
Yeah. Nice.
It's nice though. That whenever I see a D7, I always think I should break out the wingnut wings kit, and then I think twice.
What's stopping
It's
you?
either that or Bitcoin,
my.
right?
Yeah.
Just swap it for some Bitcoin.
Is that paint job a decal or actually actual paint?
Probably a decal.
Probably a decal.
A
Yeah,
decal,
it's
yeah.
got like the fabric effect right in it there, so I'm assuming.
Right.
Nice. All right. Ted, you're up next. Mr. Barrett.
Hi.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, Ted.
Okay, good. That's awesome for GS3N1. For some reason, it didn't resist the box or just got going. So I ordered the kit a couple of years back. I started working on it. It turns out it was built at the same time as the kit was being built in the mid-30s. And their idea was they were going to have smaller, simpler, it's a little smaller than they'll use the engine. It was strictly for honest purposes. And I built 2 of them. They were tested by the Navy for a year. They were to China there in the Hancock area.
Hey, Ted.
Yeah.
Ted, your audio is really breaking up there. I was wondering maybe you should just turn off your camera for a second, give you a little bit more bandwidth for the audio, and try that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's got that sort of auto-tuning effect. That
robotic.
Kind of Taylor Swiftish. Katy Perry.
You're starting to look green.
So I saw a video. Hello?
Yeah, we can still sort of hear you, but we can also see you too.
Okay, so do I stop video?
Yeah, if you can stop video, that might give you a bit more. All right, now
Okay.
try.
Okay, is that better?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
Oh,
Much
infinitely.
Much better.
Okay.
All right, continue on, sir.
Very good. Anyways, yeah, they put a couple of them and they used them in the China, Hankook, Shanghai area from 37 to 40. And by that time, the Kates were coming online, and they decided the Kate could do all the same things they wanted this plane to do. So that was its little foray into history. So, anyways, it's a neat little kit. That's the markings that come in the kit. So I'm going to do those. Get silver and black and red.
You don't see many built, Ted. That's for sure.
No. The reason I took this picture is limited run kits can be a lot of fun. That's the inside of the fin and rudder area, which were bulged with plastic. So I had to sand them until they were flat. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to get the tail area
Oh my
together.
God.
And it's a hobby.
Anyways, I got it.
And it's a hobby too.
Yeah. I didn't think too much. So I just thought, how the hell would they do that with their molds? But anyways, I just sanded it down, and I just slopped. It called for silver inside wheel pant pieces, but I thought probably it would be their Aotaki. So I painted silver. It didn't matter. You can't see the blasted things, but just for something to do, I painted some silver and then overpainted with some Tamiya clear blue and some Tamiya clear green just to get that Aotaki type look.
Very nice there, Ted.
That's not a bad effect, actually.
Pardon?
I said that's not a bad effect. That turned out pretty convincing, actually.
Yeah, it was a little sloppy. I'm sure if I worked it more where it was in an exposed area, I would get it smoother. Like I said, it was a good place to experiment because it can't be seen. I've got both wheel pants glued together with the tires in, and you can't see any of that Aotaki's. As nice as it was. Anyways, that's the interior on the thing. I constantly laugh when I work on one of these kits because, as you can see, it's about 2 and a bit inches long, and I'm used to working in 30-second scale, so this is sort of crazy, teeny tiny little bits. And, the control lever is actually, I had to stretch that out of sprue because I somehow managed to lose the piece they gave you in the kit. So it's somewhere in the room on the floor. But,
You'll find
Carpet monster.
Yeah.
That's all painted now, so I'm just trying to get it to fit inside their fuselage, and that's the instrument panel.
Nice.
Yeah, it came out. That's the shit I do. Is if they give you enough little shapes on the instrument panels in the interior, I'll just like brush painting them.
Very good.
Yeah.
Old school is always nice.
Yeah, it is. It's lots of fun, and that way I don't have to go out to the tool shed and get the airbrush on. Anyways,
All right.
that's it.
Thank you very much. We'll switch over to Glenn if you wanted to feed us through your two. And
Sure. I'm going to keep my video off to get better audio.
Yeah.
This was the link that I sent to you last month and accidentally sent you the wrong link. This was a blitz build that we did in the May, early in May. It was a 4-day blitz that we held. And I chose this kit. It's a 35th scale take on kit of a Russian ship-based missile launcher. And it was a very, very nice kit. Went together fairly well in about 2 days. Spent about maybe a day weathering it. So it was pretty nice. We had to timestamp all of our photos just to show that, we started, after the deadline, and it was held through Facebook. So we posted our progress as we went along.
Actually, Glenn, I'm surprised you guys didn't use a local newspaper held up in front of the model to prove when you were working on it.
Yeah, well, we do have to take people's words for stuff every now and then. Yeah. But I like that idea. I do like that idea.
That's great. That's a high Mach number submarine. I love it.
There was a little bit of photo etch on there, not too much, just enough, but everything slapped together rather well. So I got the assembly done in about 2 days. And then when I was doing all the weathering and painting and stuff, I didn't bother taking in progress shots because it was head down at the workbench and getting everything done. But just trying different modeling, modeling techniques. But
Glenn, is your eyesight 2120?
hardly. If you saw the size of or the power of the glasses that I have to use now, yeah.
Great.
So I just took a bunch of shots for the hero shot, and this one ended up getting third out of about maybe 12 entries that finished on that weekend.
Wow.
Very nice, Glenn.
Well done.
Very nice.
Very cool.
Wow, if that was third, I'd hate to see first and second.
Oh, they were fabulous.
2 days.
First place was Benoit Bonnier, who was here tonight, and he had a LAV 3 with probably about 5 frets of photo etch. And I learned new swear words from Benoit that weekend, but he managed to pull it off before the deadline.
So was that in franglais? In other words, a bit of English, a bit of French?
Yeah, maybe.
You're not allowed to repeat those words, Glenn, I guess.
Franglais. Yeah, we have Chinglese, which is what my wife speaks when it's half Chinese and mostly English.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
And
it's in every
and there's Italiese, which is a bit of Italian, a bit of English, with some dialect thrown in.
A lot of gestures with the hands.
Yeah. You like this weird, you like this weird stuff, Glenn. That's cool.
Yeah, the weapon system.
Yeah. Well, another weird one on the armory kick in 35th scale was this CRAM. I think I showed this last month, and I finally got to the end of the construction. So now I'm on to a diorama. And the one good thing and bad thing about the internet is once you type in some things and, you know, CRAM loading or firing, you come up with all sorts of weird things. So in the end, I decided to do a ship-based diorama of people loading the missiles. And there's actually a photo that's down. Let's see where it is.
Okay, Ian, the way you're posed right now with that mirror, it looks like you're wearing horns. Now you can't unsee that.
Oh, great. Thank you. There it is. So that photo there, that one right there, that's the one that I'm going to be going for.
Oh, nice.
So it turns out that it has the same paint scheme as the one that I used. And I'm making up the gantry. That's about maybe 10% done. I'll make the ship base. And I had a friend of mine 3D design and print the missile launching tubes and the transport case that you see there. So
nice.
Paul Bourne, who gave a presentation at our IPMS Ottawa meeting, made up those things for me. So I'll be putting those.
Paul's talented there in that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Are you doing the figures? That's a challenge too.
Well,
don't ask him that. Don't ask him that.
I gotta keep my mouth shut.
Well, the story of the figures is the scenario is going to be they just finished loading the final missiles. They closed the back of the launcher. They left everything and they went for a lunch break.
Or they're all in the union. I get it. Okay.
Yes.
No.
Yeah,
They're planning a yet another insurrection. That's what they're doing.
Maybe.
Very nice.
They're in the wardroom planning a
very nice
insurrection.
Absolutely.
Hey, somebody sent a link to that 3D printing thingy.
Yeah.
Where did that go?
It's in the chat, isn't it? Or
I thought I saw it, but now it's gone.
No, one of our fellows, one of our local members did in fact record it using his own Zoom. And now he's trying to, we're trying to figure out how he can upload
It's up, Glenn, it's up.
Oh,
Yeah,
wonderful.
It's on YouTube.
Further up on YouTube. Yeah, on the chat.
Oh, wonderful. Okay.
I sent you the email already.
Thank you. Okay, I'll check
So
that
in
later
my
on and I'll
chat-
share that out.
In my chat, I get EGAD sanded all that. Chris Wallace to everyone.
Oh, that's because you may have come in late or rejoined. Hang on.
Oh, I rejoined.
There we go.
Yeah.
There you go.
Excellent. Thank you.
Oh, there we go.
Double hit.
Great, thanks.
Synchronized.
Thank you, Victor.
Excellent. Okay, and then as we were chatting here, John Long sent me a note too that he would like to just show a couple shots from his screen. Well, so I thought, John, if you wanted to, I guess we'll have to make you the host so you can do that if you're prepared to share something.
Yep. Give me a second here.
All right, I've made you the host, so you should be able to share now.
Okay. See if I can do this right. Here we go. Just a little side project I'm working on. You guys see that nice box top art there?
Yep.
Yeah, this is one of those kits I was bouncing around the local hobby shops here, Carefree in Oakville, and came across this kit for a nice, real expensive $10. Said, oh, neat. I know nothing about this thing, but it looks neat in the box, so I'll buy it and maybe I'll do a quick build. Or that's supposed to theory. And I got a bonus. There's a Polycarpov R5 kit in that box as well. It's probably the previous owner threw a couple of kits in the box and it was all there. So I got 2 kits for $5 or $10.
Oh, John, you know what he was doing? He was
trying to
doing
sucker
the
me
old,
into the
he was
dark
doing
side.
the old buy 2 kits, throw the box away in the parking lot, put the other kid in, sneak it past the wife kind of thing.
The voice of experience.
Yeah.
Well, so this thing looked nice. Now, this is a picture of the sprues in the box. This is a picture I found on the internet. I didn't take a picture of it before I started building. But the way it sits, it looks reasonably nice. And I thought, okay, I may have to build a cockpit and just put the rest together. It's simple enough. I don't have too much information on it, so it's not like I can go nuts doing research on it. So as a little side project to the Heller Block 152 I'm building, I said, okay, I'll throw this together as a little diversion to finish something. And of course, the first thing I find is the struts don't really fit all that well. So guess what? I get this scratch-built strut. That's always fun. What I'm using is 10 thou or thereabouts stainless wire as a core, and I sandwich it between 2 sheets of 15 thou plastic, rough cut it to shape, and then start sanding it down. And it's rough shape right about there. And of course I screwed up. I made it too short and I had to extend it by building it up with epoxy putty. That's why you see the brown ends on one end. And you learn really quick that 10 thou wire is really sharp, so you got to at least mark them. I stick chunks of foam on it so I know it's there.
Yeah, I know.
John, real quick. You didn't scribe or make a channel for that 10 thou. You've actually sandwiched around it to give you that kind of shape?
No, I did channel it. Good question. Great question.
Channeled it. Okay. All right.
Yeah, I channeled it both sheets.
I thought what you did was you had the 10 thou and you did one of these to try to get a streamlined shape out
Yeah.
of it. Okay. Thank you.
That's a great question. I may have to try that. Thanks for the suggestion.
I think I saw that. Has anybody read Harry Woodman's book, Scratch Building Aircraft and Plastic Card?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Well, if you can, you absolutely have to get it.
Yeah,
Even if you don't do aircraft,
that guy's
just
insane.
buy it.
That guy's insane.
John, well, how did you scribe it? Did you just use a scriber? How did you do the channel?
Yeah, I just put a scriber. The trick to doing all this is I didn't scribe it when it was cut to this shape. You scribe it completely oversized so you get the angles right. And then you put it together, then you start trimming it down to shapes. You always keep the part oversized. So you got some wiggle room to play with.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, good idea.
Gavin was out there. I just let him back in. So there is more or less the final strut shape, just more refined. The cord, this is the aft strut right there. The cord's a little thick, but it's not going to be too easy for me to get it much thinner without maybe breaking something, so I have to live with it. Underside.
John, could you put it in place first and then try using like a fine swizzle stick instead of trying to set it to shape right now?
It's probably easier this way. Once it's in place, You're probably going to knock it off with the glue joint because my glue joint's going to be
okay.
around that little wire end spigot. So I don't have a lot of bond area to
Okay.
play with.
Okay, roger that.
You considered
Yeah.
making it out of brass?
The whole thing out of brass?
Yeah.
Probably, except I'm not as good working in metal. I think it's much harder, and now you got to go at it much longer. That's not to say I may not try it at some point, but right now I'm chicken. It's like, okay, I'll work with plastic.
John, if you
Yeah.
want to do something in metal, give me a call.
Okay.
I got all the tools and stuff.
One of the reasons I did it that is the all the fitting locations for strut ends are like this size. It's not very precise. These particular 3 are for underwing stuff, which I filled. I'm not going to put any on there. But the 4th one here is for the undercarriage pickup, that one and this one. And to do the with the wire core, what I did is I took tubing, stretched it like sprue, and stuck it in there. So I'm bushing the hole. So I get a finer opening to insert the wire in when I get to that stage. There's top side, all the indents here for the cylinder head stuff, so I just left it. But that's the upper strut for the center supports on the wing, and again I bush the hole so I can run a wire through that.
What's the yellow putty you're using?
That's the trough for the machine guns. It's a really big trough they give you, which I don't think is right. So I filled it and I ran a tube in place. So I've got the really slim opening now.
And what material is the putty? Is it Tamiya?
Putty is the Tamiya epoxy putty. The tube is just plastic tube. He stretched a little bit to get it finer opening.
That's clever. Very, very nice work. Very nice.
And you see it's got to be cleaned up here, but that's the bushing I put into the upper strut pickup locations. Otherwise, it'd be way too loose and sloppy.
John, instead of doing a bushing, did you consider filling and then re-drilling?
Sometimes I will do that. I know the bushing gives me the hole kind of centered already. Half the time, if I try to drill something, my drill bit will walk.
Yeah.
You know, other people are more talented than I am. It doesn't walk on them, it walks on me.
You tried starting it with the end of your X-Acto knife?
Yeah, I've done X-Acto knives. I've done
pins.
Just a pin or something, right? Something pointed. Half the battle there is you can't center that initial mark anyway. You know, I'm working eyeball technology, and it's like you lay it down, you mark it, and then it's like, ah, crap, you're out by half the diameter of your mark, right? In 72, it's enough to wreck it. So.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. Here's the landing gear struts from the kit. Again, really sloppy fitting, so I end up having to build a new landing gear. I don't know if I have up-to-date photos. I've posted more up-to-date photos on Facebook for those of you that have Facebook access. Okay, there's my first attempt at it. There's my first attempt at it. Brass tube, so I can run an axle through there for the tires.
Yeah.
And I used brass wire on my first attempt, and same trick. I was going to sandwich the struts around it, except I thought, okay, I'll be clever. I've got a bunch of material sandwiched around the stainless wire, same diameter. Once I cut it off, it'll slide off the wire because the plastic cement doesn't grab the metal. You can slide off short segments. So I did that, shaped it. And then when I tried to insert it, well, brass is a lot softer than stainless. I buckled a couple of these wires. So that ended that attempt with this one, and I had to remake it with stainless. There's
John,
yeah.
I got a question. When you're soldering these things together, are you using just like a regular wire solder?
Yeah, yeah.
Have you ever considered trying to use solder paste?
No, I haven't. Soldering is one of those skills I have very little capability in, so I'm really ham-fisted with it. So I'm gonna have to learn to do stuff better with it.
You might want to consider that someday. I swear away from solder wire for many years now and use solder paste.
Okay.
It's a lot easier to place and control. It'll stick things together very low tack, and you can even heat it with like a hot air blower on like
Okay.
a propane torch
Cool.
instead of a soldering gun. It's
Okay.
so much easier to work with.
I'll have to try that. Thanks much for the suggestion.
John, the other option is to use Bondic and just position the struts in place, apply the Bondic, and then reinforce it with some super glue.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I've got bonded.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's you see the there's a stainless wire with the plastic laminate around it, and that's more or less rough shaped down. So the trick is to cut it off, slide it off this wire, and insert, but make sure what you're inserting onto has got enough strength so it doesn't buckle on you. That's work in progress on the main landing gear leg. I don't know if it's a spring or a bellows or some sort of wrap, so I just sort of wrap some wire around it to create the effect. I wish I had more information to know exactly what that is. The guys building World War I stuff will probably know what all these mechanisms are, but I'm just working on some really grainy photos.
You know what, John? Even if you knew, it's not going to change, right?
Yeah.
It's not a functional part, and the reality is you've aped the look so
That's all I'm
lovely in
doing.
such a beautiful fashion. I think just move on.
Yeah, that's all I can do. The center section of the axle has that airfoil shape around it, so I just took some strut material and channeled it, and I'm going to glue that on and fill the bottom. That's just brute force.
Okay, great.
All the problems I had with struts, I found a guy building this kit on the internet, and all his friggin' struts look like they fit perfectly. So he's better than I am, man. There's another picture of his build, and he went to spoke wheels too, but it's like, obviously the kit can be built as presented. It's just klutzes like me aren't very good at it. And there's a picture of the airplane. There are good pictures out there, just not a lot of them. So, and the airplane I'm going to do is the one in the upper left here with the fancy red banner and the red rudder, just for some color. And I'll play with a few shades of silver to do it. And we'll see how it all turns out. If you guys are on Facebook, I've got a few more up-to-date photos, and hopefully I have a few more as I start getting some color on it now.
So John, that would be like a silver dope finish?
Yeah, I think it's silver dope, but the spine, it's a corrugated skin airplane, so it's all aluminum. So the corrugations are pretty dull, but I think the upper on the spine there,
the turtle deck,
the turtle deck, I might do it a little shinier because that might be just sheet aluminum pounded to shape. Yeah. So I'll just put a few shades of it just to play with it. Yeah, it looks like it's got a wooden prop, so I'll get to do a little bit of wood grain on the outside.
Hey, Ivan, can you understand what this says? You there?
Yes.
What does it say?
Airplane.
Well done.
Yeah, I should have. Man, I can speak Russian too.
Like it says первый цельнометаллический истребитель, which is first all-metal fighter. That's the text at the top. Like the smaller text is. Can't really read it.
Are there painting instructions, John? Is there a part of the instructions sheet that has painting instructions? Maybe we can get a quick translate.
This is the Air Kits issue of this kit, which is a later repop by somebody. The box cover I showed you is the box I have, which is Nakotny, which was, I think, the first issue of it. It's changed hands in the years. It went to Zvezda, it's gone to Air Kits, and this is the Air Kits paint guide. From what I can translate off of this, and I found a separate profile of this airplane on the internet. It was the Moscow Division Air Defense Chief or something, 1929. But I haven't been able to find any photos of this particular airplane. So I'll just go with a paint guide and do it. Modeling exercise. Yeah, some profiles show up with a red star on the wing, some don't. So I'll put it on just for some color.
So John, I have a question.
Yeah.
In your research, did you find out what that downward white arrow on the rear means? Or
No
what
idea.
it-
No
it's
idea.
Just an arrow. Okay.
Yeah, it's just a masking nightmare for me.
Yeah, I saw your picture on Facebook about the masked rudder. That turned out
Yeah.
just beautifully.
Yeah.
You know what? The masked rudder, I believe, was a DC character in the 1930s. Didn't go anywhere. The masked rudder
is to show the pilot which way's the ground.
Oh,
yeah,
that must be
this
it.
side down.
Which way's up? Yeah.
Yeah, that must be it. So yeah, that's all I got, and hopefully I'll get more pictures put together and get back on that block 152
Thanks,
as well.
John.
That's,
Thanks, John.
Well done, John.
Okay, thanks, David.
Yep.
All right. You see that?
Yep.
Okay. So I just completed this probably about a month ago on one of these scratch build projects. That turned my attention recently to building 2 out-of-box Tamiya airplane kits. So this one is a Japanese Navy Chiha 120 millimeter self-propelled gun. They made one of these, so it did exist, and it served with the Yokosuka Special Navy Landing Force, the Marines. In Homeland Defense in April of 1945. There's pictures of it. The hull there is the Dragon Chiha, but with quite a few mods, including the deck expansion plates with styrene, some recast plates to replace the hull MG position, and back in the rear there is a Mr. Model Bow ammo trailer for the Type 94 Tankette, but I figure what the hell, this one could have used it as well. Fun little project. I think, once I do a scratch build armor, I think that's enough. So I'll get into something else. So now let me just move on.
That's 172, is it, Harv?
No, sorry, 35th.
Work with me. You're supposed to say it's 172.
Yeah, I know. Well, hey, John, you've seen my 72nd Tonys, so there you go. That's what it looks like painted up. There's not a lot of weathering compared to what I usually weather to armor, and when I do armor, I probably concentrate more on weathering. This one was more on the building. That gun on top, the 120, is a Type 10 naval gun. You see these things on Japanese cruisers, so they basically put it on this tank. And from the records that I dug up and spoke to some of the guys in Japan, the vehicle fired shots in exercises, and it could not fire that thing. When the barrel was perpendicular to the hull, the tank would flip over. So it wasn't exactly the best. But that gun, that Type 10 gun, is a very effective weapon. That gun is all scratch built.
Where'd you get the barrel?
I made it. Oh, the barrel. Yes, sorry, I cheated on the barrel. That is a Magic Models 122 millimeter from the SU 122.
And you know what, Harv?
It's pretty close.
I would contend that the weathering, as restrained as it is probably more prototypical, given the fact that this probably didn't have much of a life. Right?
No, that's right.
Fired away, and that was it, really.
Yeah, I mean, the only weathering I concentrated a bit on the running gear, and then see on the running gear a bit there. And that's not a lot of weathering for me. And that's pretty bare. And the deck has a bit in case the guys are walking all over it. That's about the extent of weathering I did, which is not a lot. The gun itself is actually a different color. It doesn't quite show. It's actually gray with navy gray with some camouflage. It's a fun build, but again, one of these, we start on the scratch build project and it turns into a lot of work, but now it's done. It's going in, humbly, it's going into Tamiya magazine. I don't know when. Spoke to Marcus Nichols. He said it should be coming in sometime this year. So just watch for it in the magazine. Another few shots.
Very cool.
Right. That's the trailer.
Out of curiosity, was the ammunition? Yeah.
Yeah,
like, could one guy load the thing?
No, there were a crew of 5. So you actually had one guy operating the elevation and traverse, and then you had two loaders standing on there nearby, and of course the officer there. So there were 5 in total. They got rid of the radio and they got rid of the machine gun. They stored the ammo in the tank, most of it. So, but yeah, there was a crew of 5. It was a full crew of 5. Right.
To load the thing, was there like a hoist mechanism, or did they do it by hand?
They do it by hand.
Yikes.
They would hand bomb it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the trailer,
Yeah,
the trailer would have ammunition in it as well.
Yeah. Well, that's my hypothetical guess, because there's only one picture. There's only one picture of this vehicle. That's it. And so I made an assumption that the trailer could have been used. So that's my own. But and the also assumption is it's hard to tell, but I used the hairspray technique down here so that you could see that the prior color was that Japanese khaki color. But again, these are my own guesses, and I figure you could do that if you have no other information. I spoke to a couple of guys in Japan that said that, well, you know what, no information, that's reasonable, just do it, right? Right?
Well, it's conjecture, but it's based on. This is a marriage of an existing hull.
That's
You didn't have to talk to guys in Japan for that.
I know, really, eh?
Sounds better.
Well, yeah, you know what? You got to do your due diligence, because the guys in Japan know their armor stuff, right? So there you go.
Anyway, you want to bring shame on your ancestors.
Yeah. So now I'm back to building. Believe it or not, I've got a slew of Tamiya aircraft kits built right out of box. Now I know why guys enter those things in competitions, not these scratch builds, because they go so beautifully together. Anyways, that's all I got.